Welcome to PRTV with a special report. We got this article from landlinemedia.com, and it's a crazy story about Werner having to pay about $100 million, close to it, close enough. And we're going to go over the reasons why they are having to do that. Werner on the hook for more than $100 million in crash lawsuit. Now, this crash goes back to 2014. I think I remember hearing something about this way back then. That is crazy. A Texas Court of Appeals has affirmed a more than 100 million verdict against Werner and one of his drivers in a crash lawsuit. On Thursday, May 18th, the 14th Court of Appeals in Texas ruled in an in-bank bench, whatever that means. Any of my law scholars, let me know. That Werner is liable for more than $100 million for a crash that killed one child and left another a quadriplegic. Werner driver didn't do anything wrong. The full Court of Appeals order stems from a lawsuit filed by the family of 7-year-old Zachary Blake and Brianna Blake. Zachary was killed in the crash with a Werner truck. Brianna, who was 12 at the time, was rendered a quadriplegic as a result. The Blakes on December 14th, 2014. Now listen to this. We're traveling east on Interstate 20 in Texas in a pickup truck driven by Zaragoza Salinas. Weather conditions began to worsen, coating the windshield of the pickup truck they were traveling in with ice. While traveling 50, 60 miles an hour, a car ahead of them began to fishtail. Salinas lost control and careened across a grass median, entering the westbound lanes. At this time, Cherise Ollie was driving a truck for Werner going west on I 20. Ollie was driving below the speed limit when the pickup truck began to spin. Also present in the Werner truck was Jeff Ackerman, a more senior Werner driver trainer. According to the appellate brief, Ollie quickly reacted within half a second, hitting the brakes. During the trial, it was revealed that westbound I 20 was not slick like the eastbound lanes due to heavier traffic melting the ice with friction and heat. With the crash reducing traffic and weather conditions worsening, some areas of the westbound lanes became icy. Regardless, the Texas Department of Transportation felt conditions were safe enough to keep the interstate open. Witnesses stated that even though they felt no one should have been driving on I 20 that day, they did not fault Ollie for the crash. This is a crazy story, man. This is should anybody been driving? Should the trucker been driving? He was going the opposite direction. The pickup truck came across the median and hit the truck. Now, this is a crazy story, man. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. In addition to Salinas making statements suggesting guilt and responsibility, a Texas Department of Public Safety trooper defended Ollie's actions. Trooper Villarreal, a 17-year veteran who investigated the accident, concluded, "This is truly an accident. Ollie didn't do anything wrong, and there was nothing Ollie could have done to avoid the collision." A higher ranking trooper who approved the report concurred. See, the troopers even say he wasn't at fault. Okay, now, should Warner driver have been driving that day? According to court documents, the Blakes based their case on the theory that Ollie, who received substantial training and was a licensed commercial driver, should not have been on I 20 that day, despite it remaining open for public travel. This was argued while successfully objecting to evidence that Salinas lacked a valid driver's license. The theory was based on Texas CDL manual that discusses slippery surfaces. The manual requires commercial drivers to match their speed to the road surface to ensure they are able to maintain traction and visibility, Werner argued. But the Blakes flipped the purpose of this section, claiming it was designed to protect non CDL drivers like them who might lose control and collide with commercial drivers. Blake's argument was backed by an expert with no legal or regulatory experience and no employment in trucking in 30 years. So, just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're going to get involved in a lawsuit, a major, major lawsuit. The expert claimed that truckers should drive at around 15 miles an hour and immediately stop driving when possible whenever ice is present on the road, regardless of traction and visibility. Here we go. We're going to cover some facts of the trial. You got to listen to these. During the trial, the jury heard the following facts. 2 weeks before his collision with the Blake's vehicle, Ollie received the second lowest possible score on an evaluation from a Werner supervisor in 8 out of 21. Ollie knew he was driving in freezing rain, and there was black ice at the scene of Ollie's collision with the Blakes. It was like a skating rink. Ollie drove past the collision. Texas Department of Public Safety State Trooper Corey Vanderville was working 4.5 minutes before he collided with Blake's vehicle. Now, wait a minute. Blake's vehicle collided with the truck. So they got that wrong there. Texas Department of Public Safety Officer Chad Matlock testified that he traveled to the site of Ollie's collision with the Blake's vehicle westbound on I-20 and recalled with 100% certainty that the roads were icy. James Wampler, a local tow truck driver, was driving between 10 and 15 miles per hour on I-20 that day due to the weather conditions. Despite these conditions, Ollie was driving an 18-wheeler at approximately 43 miles per hour at the time of the collision with the Blakes. Ollie's Werner supervisor, who was in the truck with him, was asleep at the time of the collision. Werner's director of safety testified that even with the low scores, Ollie had a commercial driver's license from the state of Texas, so he could drive a truck by himself without anybody in it. There were at least 10 truck stops in which Ollie could have stopped between Midland and Odessa. Section 2.6.2 in Texas CDL manual instructs drivers to reduce their speed to a crawl when they encounter icy roads. A crawl in the trucking industry means between 10 and 15 miles an hour. So they're nitpicking every little thing that they could have done or should have done or whatever. So let this be a learning lesson that when you're involved in an accident, whether it's your fault or not, they will nitpick every single thing that you have done. In July 2018, a jury found Warner 70% liable, Ollie 14% liable, and Selena 16% liable. The district court judge signed off on the jury award of nearly 90 million. After interest, Werner owes nearly 92 million, while Ollie owes nearly 13 million. Now that's the driver. Ollie has to pay $13 million. Werner appealed the decision and argued there is insufficient evidence supporting that Ollie or Werner approximately caused that crash, especially anything that happened at the company years prior. Werner also argued that by affirming the decision, Texas motorists who drive lawfully and below the speed limit can be liable for a crash involving a motorist on the other side of the highway who loses control of his or her vehicle during their own negligence. Wow. Oh, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So that's almost $100 million total. Warner and the driver has to pay for that. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. So I don't know. Um, what do y'all think about that situation? So you're just driving down the road, going in a direction, a car comes across the lane, slams into you, You're just driving down the road, minding your own business, and you get involved in a major, major lawsuit. What the heck? So keep all your P's and Q's together. They can go back so many years or however far they want to, the lawyers, and just try to nitpick you to try to make you at fault just because you were in the area in the wrong place at the wrong time. So could just be a lesson that no matter if it's your fault or not, you're still going to be involved in a $100 million lawsuit. That's crazy, man. So that goes back. It's 2014 when the initial accident court case was 2018, and the appeal came down to just the other day, and Werner lost it. So say what you want about Werner, but in my opinion, this is totally, totally crazy. Should he have done something different? Probably so, but if he'd have been a second slower or a second faster, he would have never got hit. So who knows? Let me know down in the comment section what y'all think about this. And wow, it's crazy. I don't understand it. So I appreciate everybody watching. Everybody have a good day and stay safe.